Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Shenanigan, and today we are going to talk about Odin. I have both 5-star and a 6-star Odin. The 6-star one is at rank 3. In the current feature crystal, I actually got him 3 times back to back, so I just took it as a sign that Kabam just wants me to rank him up, so I did. He does get a significant change when you upgrade from a 5-star to a 6-star, and we're going to cover that. The main thing about Odin is you need to ramp him up and hit a special 2. And in order to ramp him up, all you need to do is to get as many buffs on you as possible. So we're going to talk about all the buffs. With the recent change in his abilities, he used to have this Odin Sleep ability where you can't actually use him in consecutive fights because he would not have his Fury and an armor buff. So he would not hit as hard. But at the beginning of the fight, as long as he has the Odin Sleep active, you would get a aptitude buff, which increases the potency of the Fury effect at least by 15%. Even if he doesn't have that aptitude buff, it does not make a lot of difference in his standard damage, but does make some difference with SP2 damage, and we're going to cover that. So he would always start a fight with 2 buffs, a Fury buff and an armor up at a 6-star rank 3. Let's see. So the Fury buff gives him 33-31 attack on top of 27-26, which he has right now. Currently I have Suicides active because it's an off season, otherwise I don't have Suicides active. So the Fury and armor of buffs are the first 2 buffs he has on him. The third buff being the aptitude buff, which he gets when he has Odin Sleep. On top of that, there's a new process, I would say, that he has, which is called Odin Force. Every time you knock the opponent down, you get 1 Odin Force, and if you knock the opponent down, when you have 2 of them, both of them are confused and you get extra effects. So the first way to actually get buff, other than the 3 that you already would have, is heavy attack. As soon as you do a heavy, you get a energize buff, which will increase the combat power rate by 10%. But if you do knock the opponent down once you have 2 Odin forces, then you get 1 energize buff for each unique buff that you have, up max 5. So you can get up to 50% extra combat power rate. Now, his playstyle does involve you knocking the opponent down a lot of times. So that's why we have heavy attacks. You can actually choose to knock him down using specials multiple times, but this is much easier. Now, once you have 2 Odin Force charges, you want to do an SP1. Without the Odin Force charges, SP1 gives you a True Strike buff. With the Odin Force, together with the True Strike, you also got a Bulwark buff, increases the block proficiency. Each buff for Odin that you gain this way have a timer, but all the buffs are paused as long as you're near the opponent, and they're not really hard to maintain. So after the SP1, where you get 2 more buffs on top of 1, 2, 3, 4 that you already have, now you have 6 buffs. Then you want to go to SP3. At this point in time, you already have a 50% increased combat power rate, so SP3, reaching an SP3 is going to be easy. Once you throw an SP3, you gain a copy of all the buffs that you have gained at any time during the fight. And with the Odin Force, you get another buff. It's called the Extend buff, which increases the duration of every other buff by 25%. Now that is 7 buffs now that Odin has. Once you have an SP1, then SP3, you have to go to SP2. You're going to have to make sure that you knock the opponent down again with a heavy. Once you are at SP2, you are going to pause the duration of all the buffs and refresh the duration of all the buffs on Odin. So the copy of the buffs that you gain via SP3, the Fury buff mainly, is gonna stay, and the duration will refresh. On top of that, you get at least 25,000 damage, or rather at most I would say, per buff on you. So that's why having multiple buffs are important for Odin, because the more the health of the opponent, the more the damage he will do. So at 7 buffs at 25,000 damage per buff, this is approximately what, 175, 180,000 damage. You can actually use Heimdall in the team and get another buff. You can probably just gain a dex right before you hit an SP2, so you get another buff. So that's 9 buffs now, which would probably give around 225,000 damage on top of the special attack damage. And then you can just cycle SP2 over and over again. You don't have to do the SP1 and SP3 again, unless of course you lose those buffs. So this is what he brings to the table. Having the true strike ability is good. Having multiple buffs would actually work in buffed up nodes, and having multiple unique buffs would actually also help. Other than that, what he provides to the team are 3 extra buffs. I'm sorry, you got a call. I'm just going to start over. He provides 3 extra buffs to anyone in the team. These buffs being, I don't know what that says, threat stock? That's an aptitude buff, a protection buff, and a shock resistance buff. Now, if I am right, and we can of course check that, the potency of these buffs is more for a 6-star Odin than it is for a 5-star one. Another thing he actually does bring to the table is the unique synergies that he has, mainly with Hela. Now, I only have a 5-star Hela, and I'm not really fan of the charging heavy playstyle, probably because I don't actually have a lot of practice on it, but you must have seen a lot of videos on YouTube about Hela doing 85,000 damage in basic attacks in Abyss of Legends. So Hela does become extremely overpowered, but the main reason I like to have Odin in the team is for Angela. With Angela, having an increased potency of each buff on Angela does help gain a lot of regen throughout the quest, and her fury and precision actually get more potency. If the quest is longer than 6 fights, obviously this is going to help a lot. Angela also has this awakened ability where the duration of enemy debuffs get reduced based on the number of buffs she has. So with Odin in the team, she would start with 4 buffs already. And that does help, reducing the duration of the debuffs by 100%, even if your Hela is at a lower sig. I'm sorry, not Hela, Angela. So this is what Odin is about. I already have done a gameplay video on Odin, which I will add at the end of this video. But meanwhile, I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple of fights just to have a look at his damage. Now, you can always take Mcoc as well in the team to increase this SP2 damage, but then I don't think that's necessary because Mcoc isn't the best champion that you want to take. So for this fight, I'm only going to take Heimdall to get that extra buff. I don't think I'm going to need to take anyone else. I guess I can take Mephisto for the 5% extra attack. I don't think there's any other champion required. So let's just do a fight and just look at the mechanic. Okay, we're in Labyrinth. Should have added Magneto here, I believe, but I think I'm gonna go to Realm of Legends first. Let's go here first. And let's see how this works. Now, usually based on the amount of damage I have seen that 5-star and 6-star Odin, they usually do similar amount of damage. Okay, so now I have 2 Odin Force and I have 5 energized charges. I need to knock him down again. Actually, you get Odin Force even if you get knocked down. So I'm going to talk about his awakened ability. After this fight. Okay, that was definitely a parry. So after SP1 you do an SP3. And then we need to raise to an SP2. But I want to do an SP2 with 2 Odin Force charges. Okay, let's see. That was 105,000 energy damage. Now I need to rush to another SP2. Oh, I didn't even enable Heimdall's synergy buff. Alright, that was 53 hits. Now in Labyrinth, I'm going to add White Magneto just to get the passive stun. And I've already done the Star-Lord fight. So I'm gonna just do the Red Elk fight now. So let's see how that works. Again, I'm not used to having suicides when I'm playing Odin. But they don't seem to be necessary though. I mean, you only do 1 SP1 and then you cycle SP2s. Okay, let's see how this works. That's 2. That's 3. I'm gonna knock him down again. Okay, now SP1. Alright. Knock him down again. Now whatever, rush to an SP3. I'm gonna probably have to do a couple of heavies again to get that energized buffs back. I actually lost them. There you go. That will be okay, that's $154. Gonna knock him down again. And let's do another. So it would be a good thing if you can just do a dex and then do an SP2 to get that extra buff, but doesn't seem to be working at this point. I don't know if I have lost a buff or two maybe. I think I might, yeah, I lost the True Strike, didn't I? Let me just do another SP1. Get that True Strike. Okay, let's rush to SP2 now. $206. I don't actually remember how many buffs was there. Oh, why did I not lose any health? That was nice. Okay, so this was 102 hits, not bad. I do have another video with Star-Lord that I already have recorded, so I'm gonna put that one after this this one. But that's about Odin here. Just want to talk about his Awaken ability real quick. When Odin was not buffed, his Awakened ability would actually make him, where is he? Okay, there's make him copy the buffs that the opponents have. In this case, Fury and Armor buff as well would be copied, so that would actually be useful if you don't have Odin Sleep active, so you can copy Fury and Armor up as well. But after it was changed, I think they should have made changes to the Awaken ability as well, and instead of these two buffs, Fury and Armor up, he should have probably copied Aptitude buff or maybe a Cruelty buff or something as well from the opponent, so that he can gain more of them. And the rest of the three, it's not about the potency of the buff, it's about when you are fighting a defender, there are times when the defenders do have these physical resist, energy resist, and critical resist buffs. So just being able to copy those buffs in order to do an SP2 does help a lot with the damage. It's not about which buffs are these, it's about the fact that these are unique buffs that can be copied. Odin could have been a bit better if there was an armor breaker ability given to him, probably with the synergy with Hela. He could have done that, or maybe he had some sort of true focus, or probably ability to bypass miss or something. But those abilities have not been given to him. But as long as he has these multiple buffs, his ability to give buffs to the opponents not only benefit Hela, but the champions who actually get a lot of benefits with buffs. For example, you can actually give these buffs to maybe a Silver Surfer to increase his damage. You can probably give it to Ghost with the Ant-Man synergy to increase her damage. Maybe Red Goblin, who has a lot of armor breaks based on the number of buffs he have on SP2. So that's how I find that he is useful, and in most of my teams, because I've actually been using Angela a lot, I do take Odin with me. So that's about it. That's about Odin. I'm going to add another video after this. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a subscriber. You have an excellent day now. Goodbye.